Hello, good morning. This is Siva Devaki from MassMailer. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Today, I'm going to talk about some of the new features that we've added in the March 21 release, which should be out for the existing customers in a few weeks' time. This is just to kind of prep you on what we have, and you're of course open to install it only in the sandbox. I'm just going to stress that point. If you're an existing customer of MassMailer, please do not install this into production instance because this is just more like a give you a quick overview of what is coming, but it's not an official announcement for the existing customers to upgrade it. You will certainly receive an email whenever we're gonna make a formal announcement for you to upgrade. But you're open to install this in Sandbox. We don't mind if you want to just do it your own. That's not a problem. But make sure that you do not install it in production. All right. Now, just to go over some of the new features that we have, there are two segments that I'm going to talk about. One is what is changing in the MassMailer setup and what is changing in the actual outreach, the outreach that you do. MassMailer setup has changed quite a bit. There's some new tabs that we have added, especially for the UI settings and all of that, and some other changes that I'm going to go through. And again, in this webinar, I'm not really talking about all the 100% things that have changed, but at least the majority of the important features that I think you all should know about is what I'm going to talk about here. So everything that I'm talking about here, I'm also going to go through a demo. That way you can visually see what it means. But just to kind of outline, what is changing in MassMailer setup, I'll just go through all these bullet points one at a time. So campaign settings. So we just added a new section that lets you enable the campaign member status to get created automatically. That way, if you enable this feature, what happens is even if you are using a standard Salesforce campaign new button to create a campaign, we would still set that as a MassMailer campaign if you enable this option. So that is actually very useful for most of the customers who always used to click on a button called set as MassMailer campaign. You don't have to do that anymore, provided you just enable this campaign setting option that we're going to provide to you. There's one more additional thing that is there. I'll talk about it when I'm actually going to go through the demo. And then so far in the MassMailer setup, you must have seen ability to add an object, whether it is a standard object or a custom object, provided there's an email field. But in the previous version, we changed that a little bit, and we enabled even the related objects, where in which you can select a related object or any object, whether you have an email field or do not have an email field, you can still add an object. That was the previous version. But now in the current version, that is 2.47, what we have done is we also providing a way for you to enable the default email field from the related object as well. Again, it may be confusing if I just talk about this. I'm sure once I demonstrate what it means, you will kind of understand what it means for defaulting email field from a related object. But if you kind of got what it means, so let's say you're sending out emails from account to contact, right? But you want to default the email field for the contact to a specific email field. But this is for the account though. So you should be able to do that. That way, whenever you're selecting an account, and if you want to send an email via MassMailer from the account object, for example, we will automatically populate and then retrieve the results from the contact object that you plan to send out. So that's more like a an advanced feature that we created. And then I think the next 2 points are kind of been in the wish list for many customers. Some of the basic level editor settings that we have done in this release, but this is going to improve drastically in the next release also. And then we have added some UI settings where you can actually hide or collapse certain sections. We won't be hiding any tabs at this point because we feel that the tabs should stay the same. That way, like how to jump from one screen to the other screen, and what all things are there in between. But in each tab, especially in the outreach, you should be able to hide or collapse certain sections where you think those are not necessary for the users. And all the settings that I'm demonstrating today is meant for the company-wide settings, meaning once you enable these options, it is enabled for all the users that have access to MassMailer. But again, eventually we're gonna trickle that down to the profile level and the user level. That's all going to be in the future. It's not implemented yet. But right now we are taking the very first initial step where we provide these settings at the company-wide level, but not at the user level or the profile level yet. Just to kind of highlight that point as well. And then if you have experienced certain issues with the email opt-out field, I'm sure you would have gone through the setup where you would assign the permission set to the non-MassMailer users. So that has been done manually so far. Now we have a button on the MassMailer setup screen where you just click on the button, which will assign the permission set to all the non-MassMailer users. So that's a new feature that we added, more like a utility button that we provided. Inbound parse was released last last version itself. But now we have a little bit more flexibility for that. I may or may not be able to demonstrate that completely, but just want to kind of highlight that. If you wanted to set the reply event, not really hard coding the subdomain, you should be able to do that. I plan to schedule a separate webinar to just talk about the inbound parsing and how it really works. At that point in time, I think I'll get into more details on what kind of configuration that need to be done and what kind of licensing that is required. If at all you don't have the licensing for this particular feature, that's something that I'm going to talk about in the upcoming webinars. But just assume that we have the inbound parts completely developed in 2.47 with the ability to specify what subdomain that you're capturing the reply events. Now it's a little technical, but just assume that you are able to capture the reply events in MassMailer now, as simple as that. Now, talking about the outreach, I think the major change what we have done, rather the new feature that we added is quick send. This has been on the wish list for many customers for a long time. So far, what you've seen is ability to send email via the button called Send via MassMailer, which is more like a step-through process. It has several steps that you go through. And a lot of customers have been asking, hey, can we just like shrink everything in one screen? That way we don't really have to go through so many steps. We've done that. So that's called quick send via MassMailer. So that button would appear, of course, if you go through the upgrade properly. Again, I've not given the upgrade instructions in this. This webinar is just meant to give you a high-level overview on the features, but not really meant to kind of tell you how to upgrade to the latest version yet. So that's something that I'm going to schedule again, maybe in the upcoming weeks on how to upgrade to the latest version. But if you are interested in upgrading to the sandbox, feel free to just reach out to us to the support. We'll just send you a link. It's not tough to upgrade, but we definitely want to caution you on this, that this is not an official announcement yet. Okay. So again, outreach, we have the quick send. Once I kind of show you how the UI looks, you will kind of appreciate what we've done. And the second important feature, when you're actually coming from a Salesforce list view, uh, previously there was no option to filter the records that you're actually, selecting from Salesforce list view. So now we have an option to filter. So that's uh, a feature that was asked by many customers. So you would find a button called filter, and you can apply that filter, and then uh, you know uh, basically corner down the recipient list from the Salesforce list view. So these are the major changes. Again, this is a small release that we created quickly. Not a big release the way we have done it before. But going forward, that's a kind of a trend that we're going to take. It's going to be small releases, a few set of features. That way, it's going to be easy on us and it's going to be easy on you as well. So we'll go like on an incremental the releases going forward. Very quick turnaround. So we're already gearing up for the next release, just to let you know. A lot more good features, especially for the editor. So the upcoming release that we're going to have, not this one, will have more features for the editor. So again, you'll come to know eventually. Let's just focus on what we have right now and what we want to talk about today. So that's about the feature set that we have in the new release. So let's take a quick look at the demo. And some of you may be on 2.47 already, if you just signed up in the recent weeks with MassMailer. But you will be able to tell if you are on 2.47 and 2.46 just by going to Salesforce setup, and then you click on installed packages on here. So if you are on 2.46, which means you're on an older version, and if you're on 2.47, then you're on the latest version. And we do have patches every week. We have one or two or more patches already getting created. Don't worry if you're not on the latest patch, that's okay. We're gonna auto upgrade you to the latest patch at some point. We don't do it for every single patch. We do it, intermediate patches. Once everything gets stabilized and we know that, okay, we need to push and upgrade, we'll do that automatically for you. But your goal is always should be to upgrade to the latest version. Once we make an official announcement, then, provided you get all the upgrade instructions and everything with the release notes, that's when you would want to upgrade to the latest version. Till then, please don't do it unless you want to do it in Sandbox. That's okay. All right, now talking about the MassMailer setup, the things that have changed, you would notice that the password is gone. So we don't store the password anymore in the latest version. That's a security feature we added. Now I'll just go through one screen at a time. If there's anything that I missed out in the slides, I can cover that. So no change here. I was gonna schedule another webinar for the alerts, or maybe send out a quick note on this. But anybody who is listening to this, if you have alerts set up, make sure that you delete them and then add them again. That's actually mandatory. But again, I'm gonna send you a video on how to do this, yeah? Sorry, just give me a quick second. Okay, and then the next one, inbound parts, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk about this in the upcoming webinars. So we'll get into the details. Otherwise, assume that it's available, the feature is available. And then The tracking settings, what changed here is this section, MassMailer campaign settings. Auto create MassMailer campaign status. If you enable this, you no longer have to click on set as MassMailer campaign. You know, if you are if you typically create a regular Salesforce campaign and then add campaign members from a report or any other means, and then if you're clicking on that set as MassMailer campaign, you will not have to do that one additional click of set as MassMailer campaign. You just enable this, and then we're gonna add the campaign member status automatically. Okay. And then this is basically our default campaign member status values that are added. We provided this advanced capability. Right now, it is already defaulted to new. But if you ever wanted to add any other status, you can actually do that by just coming in and setting up here. This is just a global wide setting again, just to let you know. And then here in this particular screen, as I mentioned, if you ever select any object, for an example, okay, let me just go delete this, and then I'll just go edit this one. Let's say from application, if you wanted to send email to a child object, say application member, now you can actually select an email field for the related object as well. And then you can just go select from here, and you want to send an email to the related object, and the email is contact. So this is more like going from the top level application to the related list application member, but application member has a contact lookup, and then you're sending out emails to contact. To kind of understand, this is exactly same as the opportunity, the contact, and the opportunity contact role. So if you ever wanted to send out emails from opportunity, but you're sending out to opportunity contact role, but ultimately emails are going to the contacts. So the way you can enable the the default selection is, you say that, okay, from opportunity I want to send emails to opportunity contact role, but I'm actually sending email to the contact that is a lookup on the opportunity role. And that's how you basically set this up and then save. So this is kind of an advanced feature, that way you don't have to do this manually every time, and you can just do it like one time in the screen, and then that's set up for you. Okay, that saves a lot of time. So this is kind of an advanced feature what we developed. And then sender settings, let's see. Nothing really changed here. And then IP ports, nothing changed. The tools, we have done some minor changes in the schedule purge, not that you really have to know much about it. It's more like some the way you apply the filters and everything has changed a little bit. So let's just go to the next step. So users. So this is where we added the section, manage non-MassMailer users. So if you just click on this button, that's going to assign the permission set to non-MassMailer users. And this is mandatory, especially if any of your users are actually selecting or updating the email opt-out field. You would definitely want to use this. Otherwise, you may get exceptions sometimes. And also process builder workflows or flow. If you have other users updating those records, and then MassMailer is getting triggered, of course, you will have to enable this. So by default, we recommend that you always set this up, whether you, this becomes more like a mandatory step while you're doing the setup. And if you have not done that so far, going forward, once you upgrade to 2.47, we recommend that you come here and then do this once. And anytime you have new users getting added, that's okay. Just come in and click this button. We will automatically find out who does not have the MassMailer permission, and then we add it to them. So it makes it easy for you. You don't have to go to Salesforce and then add permissions set to those users. It's just one click and you're done. And then here, these are the changes that we've done, like which are major. As I said, UI setting, outreach wizard, and quick send. We have both the options, in which you can actually, collapse or hide certain sections here. And again, a lot of customers have asked, hey, we don't really use certain sections. Can we disable or hide them? And we have come up with this option. So some of them you will see collapsed and hidden. So once you enable that, then you basically see that getting collapsed or hidden. Um, so I will see what I can do here. Maybe I think this could be a good option. Let's say you don't want to even show this, hide suppress event logging section, and maybe even the link email event logging. If many of your users they don't need this, let's say you want to hide them, those are hidden for you, right? Or you can also collapse them if needed. This could be collapsed. Let's just do that. So maybe this could be collapsed and this could be hidden. That we can see both of them, how they work. And then same thing in quick send. So as I said, we have the quick send option right now in MassMailer. So some of them are kind of by default, those are kind of hidden. And you can always enable and disable certain sections as well here in the quick send. Same thing. So let's go enable these two. And the editor setting. So some customers have asked that they're still in Classic and they want to use the merge field syntax in Classic, but we caution them against using Classic, just because if they are, or rather if you are referring to any related object merge field, the parent related object merge field, Classic may not work in many cases. I want to caution, and we've been cautioning customers on this. Salesforce overrides the email templates that you store if you're using Classic, especially when you're referring to the parent records. So the only option for you is to use Lightning. Again, that's the reason why we defaulted to Lightning in the editor setting. But if you ever think that you needed to default to Classic, and if you're not going to use the parent fields, then feel free to switch to Classic, but we strongly say that don't do that. And eventually, I'm sure, someday Salesforce is going to turn off Classic completely, and you would have to be 100% on Lightning. It's always recommended and preferable to just start using Lightning, the syntax. And the default merge field object, again, this has been on the wish list for some customers. They've asked for this feature where you can actually default the merge field to some object. And if you think you're always going to use contacts or leads or some object that you're sending email, and if you don't want to select this all the time, you can always default it to one object and then use that. So that's kind of an option. So if you just say, I want to default to contact, and that's it. That's how you do it. And then template system information. Some customers have said, hey, it's too much info. We really don't need. Or if you think you want to collapse it, you can always collapse it. So that's an option in the editor settings. We don't recommend hiding because sometimes you need the ID. There was a reason why we are showing the system information, because typically you don't know when was it created and who created it and what is the ID. We didn't want you to really go to Salesforce and then find that info. You can just find that information right here. But if you think it's annoying most of the times and it's taking too much of a screen, the screen, then you can collapse it. That's the easy way. And then that's it. Then finish, there's no change. Everything is a normal thing. And again, in the buttons, like if you go to like objects, object manager, and if you're gonna say update maybe contact page layout, and if you go to contact and then page layout, there are two things that you would notice. One is the buttons on this layout and the search layout as well. So if you go to buttons, you would see the quick send via MassMailer is a new button that will get added when you click on finish button. Same thing here in the mobile lightning, quick send via MassMailer. So that's the new button that is added. And if you go to search layout, you will see the exact same thing. If you go to the default layout, you would see the quick send via MassMailer here, and also the search layout for Salesforce Classic. You would see the exact same button that is quick send via MassMailer. So this is the new button that is added. Again, whenever you're going to upgrade to Sandbox, you would go through the upgrade instructions, and then you would see this quick send via MassMailer button getting added. That's about the setup. And now let's just go through the wizard quickly. So we're gonna talk about the quick send, sorry. Okay, let's say you wanted to send an email, the quick send that I wanted to mention, for example, let's just go through this. Contact, and it has an email address, so it should be okay. So I would just do quick send via MassMailer. Let's just go through this first, yeah. So if I did the quick send via MassMailer, that's gonna bring up the UI just in one page. That way you don't have to kind of navigate. And if you wanted to open this in Outreach, you can click on this open in Outreach wizard. That's gonna open up in the full blown the Outreach wizard, which is more like a 6 or 7 steps. You can save this as a draft and then you can launch it. So you can see this, the button name is launch now, not finish anymore. So that's another small change that we did. So as you can see, if I scroll down, you can see that the sections are the same. You got the outreach campaign name, the target object and target email field. You're sending it to one contact. You have the select sender option, the select CC option, the BCC option, the delivery option, and then you have the file attachment option here. The select template option is actually pushed down because rest of it is more like a setting up your quick send. And then this is where you're actually gonna select the template. So we kind of pushed it down here, as you can see. And then the template information is right there. And then it's regular email, you just type in something and then click on this launch and then the email would be sent. So there's no need to really go through a series of steps. And as I said, some of the sections, if you think you want to hide them, feel free to do that. We have that in the UI settings. So for example, CC or BCC, you don't want to really kind of display them and you want to hide them, you can do that. So that's kind of an option that we have in the quick send, yeah. And this quick send can be invoked from 2 places. Okay, let's just go to contacts tab. Okay, right here. Here, let's just go to sales app to start with. And then contacts. And then from here, if you select any contact and then say a list view, you have an option to do quick send from here as well. So this is the same thing. The only difference again being you're sending email to the entire list of contacts. So you have an option doing it from here, or you can go to a specific contact and then do it from send email from here, the quick send. So that's kind of a difference. And send via MassMailer, again, the outreach wizard changed a little bit. So I'm going to go through that and then I'll go to how to apply the filters. Okay, so what is changing here? Let's just see. So sending email to contacts and selecting a list view. Sure, you must have looked at this exclude records option. So that is there. Then you go to the next step. So no change from, so this label changed. That's pretty much what we've done here. Just going to say demo email. This is the same thing. We have done some enhancement in the filter thing. You would be able to preview the attachments if you're using filter. That's an option that you would have once you applied the filter. I may not be able to demo that today, but this is just kind of a small announcement that we have done. Previously, all you were able to do was apply the filters, but you didn't know whether the right attachment was picked up or not. So we provided a preview function. That way you can actually see the example attachments that you picked up for a specific record. So that's an advancement that's an enhancement that we've done. And then here, no change. So as you can see, I've hidden that information that used to show the activity history. And then I've collapsed the link email event logging. So this is what I meant, hide and collapse. So anytime you think, hey, certain sections, we're never going to use them, you can hide them. And certain things, if you think, no, we may be using them, so, but not always, you can collapse them. So that is an additional feature that we've done. So the UI customization. And then, so here, the one change that you notice is the launch. So it's not finished anymore. It's more user-friendly launch. Otherwise, rest of the steps are the same. I believe the save outreach was there before. If not, maybe we would have added in this release. I'm not quite sure. Otherwise, in the final step, now you're able to save outreach using this button, save outreach. So that's a change. And then template builder, I think we were talking about the default options in the template builder. So as you can see, the system information is collapsed now, so it doesn't take much of your the screen. And the contact object is defaulted, and then I have the default as lightning. So these three can be kind of controlled in the editor right now. As I said, more editor settings are coming, the default settings for font, and those things are all going to be there in the upcoming releases, including the dynamic content feature that's getting developed and comments feature that's getting developed as well. So you can expect a lot more features in the editor in the upcoming releases. So right now we have a simple, the UI change. I don't know if you ever noticed, or maybe it's still not upgraded. Not all of you are upgraded. So now you have two options: create new template and create from base template. We added those two options so that it's more user friendly. If you ever wanted to create a new template from scratch, you can just do that. If you want to create from a base template, if you select that, then it shows the base template. So we made it a little user friendly there. That way this base template doesn't appear all the time. Only if you wanted to create from a base template, then it appears. So just make a note of it. This upgrade will be pushed to all our customers, provided you're on 2.47 or 2.46. In the coming week or so, we'll push that upgrade. Just want to highlight that. And then outreaches. I think I missed out talking about one important point. The A/B testing. Forgot to put it in the slide deck. So what we have done, this is actually, a lot of customers have been asking for this. You can see that now we are displaying the total count and template A count and template B count. What it means, if you are sending an email, if you're using A/B testing feature, then half of the recipients will have template A and half of rest of them will have template B. So we will be displaying, what is the number of opens and clicks for template A and what is the number of opens and clicks for template B, and then the total. So this is kind of a new feature that we added. We also added a report For this A/B testing, I think I can cover that as well. I'll just show you what that report name is, even though I may not have any data. But this is kind of a change that you can see that we've done in the outreaches. And then since I'm talking about reports, let's just go to reports real quick. And then I'll just show you the new report that is part of 2.47 MassMailer A/B testing report. So this is customizable again. This is a report that is packaged with MassMailer. So now I'll be able to see the A/B testing results for all the campaigns that you're running. So let's just see if we have any data. I may have a lot of records, so it may or may not load it on time. So we'll move on just in case if it doesn't load in a few more seconds here. Okay. Yeah, this is a test instance, so I have a lot of data here, and I've not applied any filters, so it's going to take a long time to really show the results, but I think you get an idea. So basically, A/B testing report is available in the new release 2.47, so it's packaged. And then finally, we're talking about the filter option. So if you're coming from a list view, let's say you're coming from a list view like this, and then you're sending out email, send via MassMailer, and then go to the next step. Okay. So as you can see, we have this option called exclude records. So that's an option that we added here when you're coming from a Salesforce list view. That's available. And then that's a new feature. And I believe there is one more feature which I would have missed again. So let's say you're sending out emails to all accounts. And let's see, look at that, not that many. And send via MassMailer. Next step. Okay. Yeah, you should be able to do this as well, the exclude records. But if you're sending out emails to, let's see, contact, select email field, email, done. So you have an option to filter. So this is something that we have added new. A lot of customers have been asking for this. So this is an added functionality that you can leverage. So the exclude records is for this, whatever you're displaying, but you can actually apply filters on the target object. So from here, you can actually pick up, you know, the specific records, for example, contact type or any field that you have in the contact. You should be able to pick up those ones from here. You can just apply any filter. Again, I'm not sure what data we have. So I'll pick this equals and then this, then apply. Okay. So as you can see, that's the one that got picked up. And then that's basically applying the filters on the child object that you're selecting here. So this is possible only if you're coming from the Salesforce list view. So the same feature, it has been asked by many customers if you can do the same thing in the MassMailer list view. We're exploring that option. We were hitting certain limitations in Salesforce, so I'm not sure whether we can achieve it or not, but you can do this when you're coming from a Salesforce list view. That's possible to do it. So again, it may sound confusing, but if you are familiar with sending out emails from a top level object to a child level object, and if you want to apply filters on the child object, this is how you do it. So just try to kind of play with this and you will get an idea what it means. So that's kind of Pretty much all the features that I think which are at a high level, and there are many, many small enhancements that we have done. Unfortunately, I won't be able to go through all of them, so I want to kind of focus on only the best and the most important features that I think you should be aware of. Any questions? Feel free to put it in the chat window or just speak out. So just go through the chat questions. When is the target release for the new features? So we're in the month of March. So I'm hoping by end of this month, we should have an official announcement. It's again available if you want to do it in Sandbox. But you play with the app in Sandbox, and if you feel comfortable upgrading to production, we're not going to stop you. But please don't install it in production if you're an existing Salesforce customer, sorry, MassMailer customer. Just do it only in Sandbox. So the upgrade instructions are again not given. We don't have the release note set. So if you ever needed to upgrade, all you need to do is upgrade and then click on Finish button, and then everything would be done. Just click on Finish button and then MassMailer setup. Again, do it only in Sandbox. And then yeah, I think it's the same question. So what is the target date for existing customers? It is end of this month is what we are hoping. We just need a little bit more time for us to stabilize. Every release needs some time to stabilize. So we are in that phase right now. As you can see, the point release that we have is only .3. So it's so fresh. So we need to go through a few more testing cycles and have more customers using it and get the feedback, and eventually we're going to open up. So just give us a few more weeks, and then we would be ready by then. But again, if you are curious and want to try it out, feel free to do it in Sandbox. Okay. All right. Any more questions? Feel free to put in the chat window or speak out. Okay. Seems like no more questions today. I'll just go through my final wrap up as usual. So this is a weekly webinar. I do it every Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific. We announce the new topic via the emails, through the social channels, and also on our website. Feel free to join. It's the same URL typically, at least for a few weeks. And you would receive an email any case if you want to join again next week. Feel free to do that. Again, not decided on the topic, but you would be receiving an email with the upcoming webinar topic again. So again, thank you so much. Appreciate your time always. And thank you for being a MassMailer customer. Take care. Bye-bye.